Good morning, Commanders. How are we doing today? Hopefully you all are doing very well. In today's video, I want to talk about wave defenses a little bit, but with a little bit of a twist. Had someone in my alliance, War, this is for you, but someone in my alliance had asked about strategies or how they should approach wave defenses from a low-level perspective. And so I want to put this video out. Wave defenses have been out for a while now, quite a few months. And I think that, you have different strategies, different things you can do. People have been learning and growing. Their ship's getting stronger, getting more favors. And so there's obviously going to be different viewpoints depending on what ops level you are. So I'm going to give my viewpoints on a couple of different things. Just quickly kind of give a refresher here. And we'll go from there. But I think just as a quick refresher on wave defenses, you have 5 people that can join. I think the original intention, right, was to make this something that the whole galaxy could join in on, but sadly, to this day at least, Scopely has yet to devise a good way for people to coordinate. It's not like there's any pre-planning where you can kind of sign up in some kind of have some I don't know, something that would trigger people being able to join. Like, you can't set up a group of people or a party of people beforehand very easily. And so what's evolved has been that alliances are just coordinated within themselves. And oftentimes you'll get an alliance that you have one of the biggest alliances on your server. If you join one of theirs, they'll just kick you out because that's one function they have added. So that has been an improvement. It doesn't completely fix it for how I think it was probably originally designed, but it does. You do at least have the option that if someone joins your alliance, or not your alliance, if someone joins your wave defense, and you're like, yeah, that's too low of a level, or they're not part of my alliance, you can kick them out. So I think the best strategy is to coordinate it with you within your own alliance. And just, if you're a low-level player, especially, since that's the purpose of this video, if you're low-level or lower level in your alliance, that you just post something in your alliance chat and say, hey, guys, anyone doing waves, or can anyone help me out? And then having people join to help you out with the waves. Waves are going to have round 1 and round 2 will be the same. Hostiles come from the same direction. And there's some, and I can post something here, kind of show you a map, and I'm putting it in my Discord as well, that others have mapped out in the in Discord, and a couple of different Discords. But wave 1, and without having the charts or whatever in front of you and paying attention to that, right, the basic idea here is wave 1 and 2 are the same hostiles from the same direction. About halfway through around wave, I think 6 it is, about wave 6, well, between 2 and about halfway through about wave 6, they go counterclockwise. So if you had a hostile that came in, for example, the Federation ships, the explorers come in from the east, and then they move to the north, and then they go to the west as an example. So they just go counterclockwise, and then around wave 6, they go the other direction. They go clockwise. So that's something to remember. Okay, so that's the basics of what you need to know. Each wave is going to get harder and harder. One thing that I will touch on really quick too is I was asked just yesterday by someone in my alliance. He's like, so buddy, what are the best things that you would recommend as far as favors go? And my initial thought before I posted in chat was, well, it kind of depends. Like, as a level 56 player, I now finally have a G5 rare ship, and I can take basically any hostile almost all the way to the end. And obviously I'm still working on my ships, and there'll be others that have a little bit different strategies. But I can now take, with a speed crew, all the way to wave 50, the battleships with my Sanctus, which those who don't know, that's the G5 rare interceptor, Romulan ship. So my focus is to help everyone else out and get there as fast as I possibly can, but still having some kind of isolate damage and different things, because I think kind of the strategy that we've been able to, in my alliance anyways, implement has been this, that if we can take little to no damage going into rounds 9 and 10, or wave 9 or 10, then we can kind of just get through limp our way through 9 and 10, and sometimes, and we've actually been able to start beating round 10 if I'm in there, or we have another G5 rare, because we have a couple of others in the alliance, and if we have a couple of G5 uncommons, then the G5 rare can take out some of the 50s, and then the others can take out the 45s, 48s, and you can typically, if you have that set up, you can take out enough that if you haven't taken damage in the earlier rounds or very little, you can get through wave 10 usually. So it just kind of depends. But as a Ops 56, I tend to focus on damage, and I tend to focus on speed, because I want to get to the hostiles as quick as possible. And I'm also trying to take out the hostiles with extra damage quicker in the rounds, so that I can move on to the next hostile with little damage. The quicker I can take them out, the less damage I'll take, is kind of the idea. I think as a lower level player, as you're trying to just get your as you're trying to get your ship strong enough that you can actually take on higher level hostiles, that you may want to focus on hull health and damage, which is one thing that I would recommend if you're a lower level player. One great thing that I do, and my facade, which is the building that goes along with the wave defenses, has a couple of bonuses to help out. Obviously has Armada countdown speed ups and officer stats, which will help you meet your stats of your ship. But two key things it has that I found that are worth investing in are hull health and wave damage. Wave defense damage bonus right there. So when I go in, and you'll have to play with it to see what works best for you, I guess, but every day, things I prioritize investing in is I prioritize getting reputation, because the higher reputation will be able to get the higher level favors. Even if you can only do the single pull each day, I try and do that. I really think the Pride Dolomite Particles, even though it's a slow drip, I think that is fantastic to get. But I always get the Section 31 transmitters, which are the items you need to upgrade your building. After all that, and I have been getting the Talios kind of just because I like the way it looks, and that's a topic for a whole nother video, I guess, but we won't touch on that. But then focusing on the different favors down here that are going to help you out the most. So as far as favors go for a lower level player, as you're progressing and you're getting better, like initially, what I would strongly suggest that you low level players specifically focus on when you're doing a wave defense is I would suggest that you focus on health and damage through those are the two favors I would mainly have you focus on. And then after that, it's going to be a matter of working on your ships. Now, what ships do you use? You're going to want to use ships with fast impulse speed. So initially, and some players are not going to like this, and they're going to disagree with this, but I think it's very handy to have at least one person, sometimes one, if you have a bunch of high level players, then everyone can kind of just grab the surveys as they come in. But if you're a low level player and you can't hit the higher level hostiles, heck, you can't even like hit past maybe wave 2 or 3, if that, then the survey ships are super weak. And so you can literally take a Rialta or some low level interceptor. I mean, you can take almost any ship and you can throw a speed crew on it. And when I'm talking speed crew, you can put officers like, let's pull up the officer screen really quick here, just to be comprehensive, because I want people, if they're new to the game, down the road, even looking at this, to have some options, right? So Claw here, he is one of the speed officers, one of the original speed officers that came in the game. has his speed officer ability, I should say captain ability. So he has to be in the captain seat, and you can add, you know, officers on the side to help with that. Let's see, I need to find Pan. Let's do it by name. Should be able to find him pretty quick here. There he is. He happens to be on a mission for me, but he also has impulse speed. So 20% there, and then you can add officers for synergy. The problem with him is that he's going to cause a hull breach to your ship. So he's probably not the best choice, but he is another speed officer. So I mean, he's there. I mentioned him only because he's a speed officer that some people have used, but you're going to do damage to your own ship, which is not ideal. And then the other officer, and I wanted to mention again, also all three speed officers that I can think of, because not everyone's going to have unlocked every single officer in the game, right? So probably the best one is, where is Riker? Right there, Enterprise E Riker. So he's going to increase your base impulse speed by 50%. So fantastic officer. I actually use, and I've been playing with it, but I've switched to using, just yesterday, talking to another player, I was using Enterprise E Riker with Data, both for synergy, but Data also as an officer will give you, depending upon your tier, if you have him, and I say if because these are newer officers, so you may or may not have them unlocked depending upon a couple different factors, but hopefully you have both of these unlocked because they're fantastic for a speed crew. But he does the isolytic cascade damage, okay? And then I used to have Curon on the side, but I've been adding Picard just for some extra isolytic damage. You could also, if you need extra damage, add synergy, but you could add Janeway as an officer on that crew. So you had Enterprise E Riker, Enterprise E Data, and Janeway. Like I said, she wouldn't provide synergy to increase your impulse speed, but you might be getting just enough from Riker. And then Janeway is going to add that extra isolytic damage, so it can help you punch a little bit harder if the hostile is a little bit harder for you. So those are just some speed officers that you can use. I would say as a low-level player, that's what you want to focus on. And tell your alliance. Tell your alliance mates, just tell them, hey, I'm going to hit surveys. And so grab whatever ship you can that has a good impulse speed. You could think about the Talios has a decent impulse speed. The Rialta has a decent impulse speed. Any interceptor is probably going to do pretty good for you. And does that mean that you're going to have waves where you're not doing it a lot? Yeah, and so that's kind of a cost you have to weigh out. But if you have other people who can handle other things, that's helpful. And why that's helpful is maybe not in the first couple of rounds, but in later rounds, you have some rounds where you have quite a few surveys. And as a higher level player, if I don't have to worry about the surveys, but I can literally focus on the bigger targets, and I can trust my alliance, and I know for a fact that they're going to be hitting those lower level surveys, so they don't get to the base and do any damage, then that's huge. One thing I would say though is that if you have more than one, maybe two people that are hitting surveys, then you're going to cut into how far you can get in the wave defense, because you're not going to have enough bigger ships that can take on the bigger targets. You're going to have everyone sitting around not hitting anything because they don't have the power to hit anything, and you're going to just lose at an earlier level. So that's not a good strategy either. So if you have more than one or two people hitting surveys, then you're asking for trouble. So you'll probably just have to spread it around. Well, you'll have to say, okay, this wave defense, this low level player, one or two will join, and you other two that want to join, you're going to have to wait until the next wave, and then you'll just kind of take turns, something like that. So those are some good strategies that I personally would recommend. I'd love to hear from you all. What kind of strategies have your alliance developed for the low level players that make it effective for them to get in? One thing that I really am not a fan of, and I'm just being honest here, is if you have, or if you're in an alliance where only the big level players are able to get in. That's really frustrating for the lower level players. And this is my personal take. And I get it. You want to be as efficient as possible. You want to advance as much as possible. But I'm always, and maybe that's just the type of person I am. I've always had the mentality that I want to help out as many people as I can. And obviously I want to progress. I want to get those favors and whatnot. But, you know, I also want to give back. I also want to help people out. And that's something that I like doing. So if there's anything I can help you out with, whether it's with wave defenses or anything else in the game, I'm not perfect and I don't know. I don't spend 12 hours a day in this game, of course. But, you know, if there's anything I can do to help you all out, please, you know, hit me up in the comment section below. Join Discord. Hit me up there. We can talk it out. We can do some testing. We can figure out whatever mechanic it is, I think, whether it's through the testing we do or coordinating and talking with those others in the community. Want to help you out, grow, and become better players. So hopefully this video is helpful. I would also invite, if you're, like I said earlier, if you're a bigger level player or a mid-level player, some of the strategies that you have learned over time, feel free to drop those in the comment section below, as we're all just trying to help each other learn and grow. And once again, Warbear, hopefully this video is helpful and helps you understand where you can kind of start and really contribute as a lower level player to wave defenses. So anyways, thank you so much, and we will talk to you all next time.